How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. How are you spending your summer?
It's been busy. I just got back from Moline, Illinois, and my charity motorcycle ride up there in the Quad Cities. It's our fifth year doing it up there. It was great. The weather was great. We had a great turnout, and a lot of great bikers came out to support the cause and help some of our wounded combat veterans.
Oh, okay. That's a very, very important cause, of course. And congrats on putting that on, of course.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on.
And we're here to discuss the upcoming PFL playoffs card on August 4th. How excited are you? This season, this regular season has been surprising sometimes. What do you think about, the matchups, considering that we're about to see some very, very interesting fighting for the featherweights and the light heavyweights?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting matchups in all three of these cards. Obviously, the light heavyweights and the featherweights coming up on August 4th in San Antonio, Texas at the Boeing Center. It's going to be a really, really fun show. Some great, great matchups. Where to even start? Martin Hamlet and Impa Kasanganay is a very interesting matchup. Impa is an interesting guy. Made his way from Africa, living in Florida in a yurt and training down there. He's a very interesting cat, but a very grounded, hardworking, formidable opponent. And Martin Hamlet, coming from Norway, Olympic caliber Greco-Roman wrestler, which is a background that I'm very familiar with and share. You've seen him each season get a little bit better, a little more refined. He's a big, raw bone, powerful kid, but he's starting to get his feet under him and figure out how to implement that wrestling background and that experience into fighting situations. We've seen him execute some amazing submissions. He's got great power. He's just starting to refine himself and starting to be on track to have an amazing year. So I think that's going to be a great fight.
I've been speaking with your colleague, Mr. Kenny Florian, a few hours ago, and he described Impa Kasanganay. He said that Impa Kasanganay might be the dark horse of the light heavyweight division. Do you agree with his take?
I think Impa's an amazing guy, and it's an amazing story in his journey. He's certainly a formidable, very well-rounded fighter. I think the guy I'm looking at in that division right now is Josh Silveira. I think Josh Silveira, made it to the finals last year. Here's a 26, 27-year-old kid that's got a great wrestling background, has literally grown up in the gym environment with his dad, Conan Silveira, and has just, I think, starting to come into his own and really kind of figure out who he is, how he fits into this sport, and I think operating at the highest level that we've seen him operate at. I think you can make a case for any one of these guys, which always makes for a very interesting fight.
What surprised me the most, since I've interviewed Joshua since the last year, this year I had many chances to speak with him. What surprised me the most this year is his maturity. It seems that he took his mental warfare and his self-consciousness on a different level. Last year, it seemed that he had to, or he wanted to prove something. And of course he did, because he's very talented. But this year, he's like more balanced and more focused on the goal.
I agree. It seems like he's, I think, making it to the finals last year gave him some personal confidence that he has the ability not only to compete at this level, but to win at this level. And I think that's what you're seeing is that belief in himself now, that he's paid his dues, he knows what he's doing, he deserves to be here, and that's how he walks in that cage and operates, is that I deserve to be here, I've earned this.
Still, he will have to overcome Ty Flores before the finals.
Yeah,
Flores is quite an opponent. He might be a surprise as well, in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, things have unfolded the way they've unfolded. He had a rough outing his very first fight, but he bounced back. He's been very impressive. He's solid. He isn't flashy. He doesn't do anything like, oh, this guy's the best at this. No, but he's just very well rounded and very solid. He's going to come in, get in your face, and try to stay there and make it difficult. So I mean, he's definitely a formidable opponent. Josh is going to have his hands full with Ty.
Moving to the featherweights, let's say that the card is headlined, by Baba Jenkins versus Jesus Pinedo, which is a very, very exciting fight. Personally, I think that Pinedo is the most unbelievable surprise in the 2023 regular season. Since he's coming that fantastic performance and victory over Brendan Loughnane, who was the champion last year.
Yeah, well, not only the champion, but beat Bubba in the final in very, very convincing fashion. I mean, holy cow. That was an amazing performance that Brendan put on last year against Bubba. We're seeing a much better and improved Bubba Jenkins. He's letting his hands go. He's not afraid to get in there and mix it up and let some of that athleticism shine through. He's not just relying on his NCAA wrestling prowess to take guys down and grind them. He's showing, with Dewey Cooper's assistance and coaching, we're seeing a lot more well-rounded Bubba Jenkins, a lot more humble, hardworking Bubba Jenkins. And I think that stems back to the loss to Chris Wade 2 seasons ago. I think that he got humbled in that, and he had to reevaluate where he was at, and he's come back stronger and better than ever. And then runs into Brendan, who not only beat Chris Wade pretty handily in the semifinals last season, but really had an impressive performance against Bubba. And then for Jesus Pinedo to come out and land that knee and take Brendan Loughnane out of there, I think both Chris Wade and Bubba Jenkins had to be going, what just happened? So pretty incredible and makes for some interesting matchups for sure.
Now that you mentioned Chris Wade, he's back in the tournament. He's back in the playoffs since he is going to substitute Mavlid Kaibulaev against Gabriel Braga. Again, Gabriel Braga is a very, very interesting surprise as well. The guy is undefeated. He is very, very good. This is going to be quite the clash, the up-and-coming fighter versus the seasoned veteran.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how Chris fashions a game plan to deal with all the problems and issues that Braga poses for this fight, for sure. I think I'm glad that Chris has gotten back in there. He did everything right in the season finale and got the finish, got the bonus points. And then Jesus came out with that first round finish to Brendan and just completely wiped out his opportunity. So I'm happy he's getting the nod. It's a shame to lose Mavlid Kaibulaev, who's an amazing competitor and performer, but injuries happen in our sport. And certainly in this format, it can be a challenge. Guys turning around and fighting every 8 weeks. There are issues there sometimes that you just can't get solved before you have to step back out in that cage. So happy that Chris was getting another shot to stay in this season because he deserves it. He earned it. He's done everything he needed to do. You can't explain a thing that like Jesus Pinedo's fight. It's just one of those things in our sport.
In addition to the playoffs, is there any other matchup that captured your attention that you will look closely? I know that you'll watch all the fights on the card, but still, is there any matchups that stands out?
I think it's going to be interesting to see Kolesnyk get back in there with Pacheco. This is the third time they have fought. We've seen Elena Kolesnyk progress and get consistently better each and every time she puts herself out there. And Pacheco, frankly, is at the top of her game right now, probably the toughest female fighter in our sport right now. And that's going to be an interesting clash style-wise. They both want to get in the pocket and sling leather. So who's going to go out and impose their will and have their way that night? I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup in the women's division.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't want to interrupt you, but that matchup is happening on August 18th. Is a little bit later. I was just referring, to the San Antonio card, if there is any other matchup.
Just San Antonio card. Well, I mean, those four you know, those 4 playoff fights are all 4 great matchups and going to be some fireworks. I mean, that's the beauty of this format. As exciting as it is in the regular season when they're scrapping and scratching to try and get points and get into the playoffs, now there's basically the title is on the line. You've got to win or you're going home. It's absolutely the way it is in the playoffs. So I think that raises the bar for everybody, and everybody brings their A game to get a shot at that title and that big shiny gold belt.
That's true, sir. Thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time today, and hopefully I will be discussing with you another of these fantastic cards soon.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate
Have a nice
you. Have a
one.
great day.
You too.
bet.
Bye-bye,
Be well.
sir.